Hello and welcome to day 199 of Dungeon 23, the series where we make a room of a mega dungeon every day for a year. We're almost to room 200 and day 200, and if you want to see that, then consider subscribing to the channel and then turning on notifications, or you could just come back tomorrow. But for today, we're doing a relatively simple room with two chests that are trapped, but at least one of them has some really good loot in it, possibly up until a point where it backfires majorly. Now we're going to start with this bottom chest here, and when this chest is opened, it casts Dispel Magic on the creature that opened it, and it dispels the most recent magical effect, which may or may not be water breathing, or it could just be a negative effect that they were afflicted with, so it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Probably a bad thing, or maybe even nothing if the creature that opens it is like a water breather or something like that. And there is a DC 17 check to actually notice it, and then also to identify it as a separate check with the same DC. It's like investigation and arcana, but I haven't put the specific ones because maybe you could argue like religion or something like that, or like woodworking, woodworker's tools, and like notice the carvings in it. I don't know. However it feels like. The important thing is that we have a numerical DC to go against. Now it's not locked, and it does have some things inside of it. The first one is a bottle of air, which when consumed as an action, it resets the creature's breathing time, which is useful, but not as useful as like an actual potion of water breathing. There is a piece of paper with smudged ink. It is unreadable because it is underwater, which again is a little reference to SpongeBob, but also there probably is other things written down on this level that are readable, so it's very reasonable to just assume that it was written to be smudged, like created as smudged, just to mess with the party by the wizard, to make them think that, oh, there was some important thing written on here, but it's ruined, or it was a scroll, but it's ruined, or something like that. And the final thing is a scroll of hold person, and this is actually carved into a clay tablet, which will break upon being cast, or duplicated, however you want to use it, and that just kind of goes into the whole underwater, so you can't read things that are written, but again, that's not really the case. It's just a cool little feature, and I like the idea of scrolls being carved into clay tablets. Makes it more interesting. Now for this guy, it's very similar where it casts a spell, but this time it is Bestow Curse. While Curse, the target has a disadvantage on dexterity checks and saving throws for an hour, and it is a DC 16 to identify the spell effect, because this chest is trapped is written on it with bold glowing yellow letters on the chest lid. And inside of the chest there is a, let's go through least important to most important. There is a jar of dry sand weighing 1 pound, which like a jar of dirt from Pirates of the Caribbean, but also it lets you cast Destroy Water because you need a dry sand to cast Destroy Water. The second thing is there is a mundane sack, basically just like a burlap sack, with the phrase bag of holding stitched onto it. And inside there's a single piece of paper that just reads, "It does, doesn't it?" Because it is a bag that holds. It's not the bag of holding, under little parentheses, but you can't see it, but yeah, parentheses around bag of holding, because it's not the actual magic item. It is just a bag that holds stuff. So it's a bag of holding. Which I imagine at this point the party's kind of bitching about how they don't have a bag of holding, unless they chose an artificer, which, man, I really don't like the artificer class for a variety of reasons, but unless they took it, they're not getting a bag of holding yet. And the final thing that's actually the most valuable and most interesting is an enduring spell book with the second level spell Crown of Madness already written in it, so it's ready to be prepared. Now, an enduring spell book is a spell book that's harder to be destroyed, so if you take a regular spell book and get hit with a fire bolt, or get caught on fire, or attacked by gelatinous cube, your thing's being dissolved with acid, or underwater, your spellbook could get destroyed. Now most DMs don't do it because it's kind of a dick move, and it also like completely wipes a big part of your character's progression, so it's very much a, well, it's like having a character and have like both legs amputated because they failed to save and they broke with their legs and they couldn't get them healed properly. Like, you're so crippled beyond effectiveness that you might as well just retire the character, because at least with a new wizard you have all of your spells. But yeah, so it's a very resilient spell book with a spell already in it. But there's a caveat. The wizard, as in the wizard, the guy who made this dungeon, has advantage on counterspell checks made against spells written in the book, assuming that the person who wrote them in the book is the one casting it, or rather, it is being cast after being prepared in the book. The idea is that the wizard put this book here so that he could learn what spells the party knows, and then prepare to counterspell them when they come up. And yes, I do intend the wizard to be the final boss. And yeah, that is basically the room. Just some loot with some pretty devious traps. Really annoying traps, because you can't really do anything about them, but well. Well, actually, you could open this one first, and then open this one. And that's like the little puzzle here. Don't just love it when you accidentally be smart. It happens to me all the time. Anyway, so yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Come back tomorrow for day 200. And I apologize for the poor quality. It's not going to improve.